Initiating podcast download. Prepare yourself. Put on your spandex. Lace up your boots. Wrap your wrists. Hide your razor blade. Head to gorilla position. Grease up your hair. Apply baby oil. Okay, apply more baby oil. Get into gimmick. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Have fun and be safe out there, brother. Welcome to Iron on Wrestling. Now your host, Gregory Iron.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron.
Pardon the interruption. This episode's too big. Wait, what episode is it?
282.
282. And Travis Scott and The Rock and John Cena are like, ooh.
That was worse than anything I've ever done to rhyme with the number of
I
the
can't
show.
believe what I saw. Spoiler alert.
I think everybody knows at this point.
It happened.
It happened.
22 years in the making.
Yeah. Yep. I guess.
Do you think more people will cheer Cena now?
It's too early to talk about that on the show. Let's set this up properly.
I can't wait.
Let's set this up. So this past Saturday, March 1st, 2025, we are living in a timeline where John Cena, multi-time WWE champion, 16 times to be exact, tied with the record with the Nature Boy Ric Flair, the man who's always been the master of hustle, loyalty, and also respect, has turned his back on the fans. 7,786 days as a good guy. 21 years, 3 months, 23 days. And it's all come to the end because he sold out.
Did he
The
sell
Rock.
out? I don't think he sold out.
What?
I don't know if he sold out.
What do you mean?
I mean, I just, he didn't do it for the money. He didn't do it for Hollywood. He's got all those things already. There's no selling out. He's just sick of Cody's smug look on his face.
I don't think that's the case.
He doesn't like that blonde hair.
No.
John Cena's always been somebody who cannot stand somebody with bleached blonde hair.
That's... What do you base that on?
Facts.
Yeah?
Yeah, alternative facts.
What a surreal moment at the Elimination Chamber. We're actually going to talk in depth about the whole show, along with some questions from you that we're going to answer over on patreon.com/IronWrestling, where you get a buttload of bonus content starting at $3. And it's the best way to support the show. Lots of other tiers where you can get involved with watching video before it goes up, extended version of videos, behind-the-scenes videos. You can get involved in Zoom chats. You can get things in the mail. Patreon.com/IronWrestling. But it's all John Cena today and this heel turn, because we're going to talk about some of what I talked about last week on the show over on Patreon, where we previewed the show and we talked about The Rock's rambling promo where he wanted Cody's soul and blah, 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 blah. And obviously what exactly we got, and perhaps maybe what this means going forward for the remainder of the year with John Cena. And we're going to read some of your comments from social media. Of course, Patreon gets first priority with that.
I like how nobody saw it coming. Nobody.
If you said you did, you're lying. So let me set the tone for you. Were you watching by yourself?
No. I watched with podcast superstar Jerry.
Okay.
But I do want to make this point. On last week's podcast, I said, what about Cena turning heel, joining The Rock? And you said there's absolutely no way that would happen. And your argument was good enough where I thought I made no sense at all. And I was like, you know what? I was stupid for even thinking that. Greg's right.
Here's the thing. Johnny Gargano does not get smartened up to these things either. Obviously, we were told from the internet that the only person that knew that this turn was going to happen apparently was Rock, Cena, Hunter, and Brian Gewirtz. Johnny has been joking with me for weeks. Say, you ready for that big John Cena heel turn? It's not happening. It's not happening. As recently as, a couple weeks ago when I went to Orlando, he was making his jokes about the big John Cena heel turn, and I was like, why would that happen? It's dumb. Why would you do that at this point? After years of trying to make John Cena beloved, now he's beloved. Now he's being cheered. Why would he become a bad guy? He's got 10 months left. And so let me I guess start from the closing moments of the Elimination Chamber. So I don't remember if we talked about it last week, but I'm making these predictions sitting watching with my brother. And I'm laying it out to him like why this is going to happen from a booking perspective and how it makes sense. I say, okay, it comes down to Seth Rollins, Punk, and Cena. And I go, here's what's going to happen. Rollins just said in a promo, like this past week, that if Punk, if Seth doesn't win the Elimination Chamber, he's going to make damn sure that Punk doesn't win. So I said, Punk is going to eliminate Seth, and it's going to come down to Punk and Cena. And then Seth is going to do something to fuck Punk. And then Cena is going to beat Punk. So, what happened in the chamber? Punk and Cena both, which was a magical moment. They had their moment together. I don't know if you noticed the lip reading, but he was like, John Cena said to Punk, I missed you, man.
Yeah,
and I missed you too.
Oh, it was so good. I said, I need a handshake out of this.
Yeah.
And they started off with a handshake. Right? As soon as I was like, yes, I think we're in for something special here. Mm-hmm. And we were, man.
Got a hug.
Yeah, and then they went into a hug. And these dudes are 20 years past their peak.
Yeah, yeah. Money in the Bank was back in 2011 when they had that historic Meltzer-rated 5-star match, one of the best pay-per-views in WWE history, but one of the most iconic main events stories in the history of the company back at Money in the Bank 2011 in Chicago. Felt like I was transported back to 2011 with all the counters they were doing, and it was just as smooth as it was back then. And
Cena ain't really been in the ring, right? I mean, maybe at the PC or something.
Maybe.
But it looked better than I'd seen him in years.
Yeah. And so they kind of double team on Rollins, and in the end, it ends up being Punk hitting the GTS, Cena hitting the attitude adjustment, and then Punk getting the pin. The back and forth between Cena and Punk occurs, and at some point, Punk gets kicked off. Head goes through the rope. And I don't know why. He did it at the Rumble, and he murked Roman Reigns with the curb stomp.
Oh, yeah.
He did the same thing to Punk, and thank God they have a cushion on that trussing on the outside.
Yeah, it's not
now.
like it used to be.
Holy shit, because he ate that curb stomp. And so then I'm watching, and it's playing out, and so then Cena pulls him in and puts him in the STFU. Now, here's the thing. As it's happening, I tell my brother, I told you so. In my wrestling mind, subconsciously, I knew that it was weird that
Cena took advantage.
He saw it happen, and then he immediately pounced. But for whatever reason, in that moment, because it's John Cena, I was just like, yep, I was right. And I just overlooked it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to believe anything deeper. To go back even further, well, again, we'll cover the entire show on patreon.com. But, and I think some other people might have put it in the universe. And when I heard it, I said to myself in my brain, but I didn't think too much of it. John Cena declaring that he's been in this company for over 20 years and that he deserves a spot in the chamber. It really was Stone Cold Steve Austin Rock face to face with JR in the locker room, and Stone Cold saying, which again at the time we don't realize it because it's still Stone Cold being Stone Cold, but the words and in retrospect the way it's delivered, I need this, Rock.
Yeah.
I need this more than you can ever imagine in like the final build up to WrestleMania. And of course we know in the end of that, the multiple chair shots to the Rock, the alliance with Vince McMahon occurs. That line was foreshadowing. And what Cena said was foreshadowing, but I didn't want to believe it. So, Cena wins. Cena celebrating. We immediately go to the Cody segment. Give me your feelings before we continue about the closing moments of that chamber match and like what was going through your mind as you're seeing this with Jerry.
I saw everything that you said. Cena pounced, but I went, that's just a guy on his last run trying to win a record-breaking championship.
Yeah.
So I didn't fault him for it. But when he started to put him in the STF, I said, that ain't the STF. That's the STFU.
Yes.
Because it was more like an FU.
Sure.
Yeah. And then, but Cena, because he's so corny.
Yeah. We're going to talk more about that in a second here.
So like he won and everything was cool. And then when you get to The Rock and that, and Cena's, I just went, oh, that's Cena just being his normal babyface, corny self.
Yeah.
But it was all set up. I can't believe it.
So the finish happens. Cena celebrates. Cody's music hits. He comes to the ring. There's a moment where, they're setting the stage. Hey, we're going to get this, I'll say dream match. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, main event of the WrestleMania, hoping that it's going to be a passing of the torch. Nice little handshake. Cena is going to tell the story of him trying to get his 17th title at WrestleMania, his final WrestleMania in the main event. And Cody is going to try to prove that he is the new guard and he's taking out the old dog. And but he'll do it with grace, be very... I don't want to say Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, because it won't be Cena's last match and there'll still be time. But, I'm already laying out the story in my head. And I know that even as two baby faces, Cena is going to bring it with the promos and Cody's going to fire right back.
Cody's promo game has been chef's kiss.
Yeah, lately. Yeah. And so then If You Smell hits and then it goes...
No.
It does hit the start, and then it goes into Travis Scott's music, the song that they're using for WrestleMania, and I'm confused as to why Travis Scott is out there as this is happening. I'm like, what? And then it goes into the Rock's theme after Travis Scott just kind of does stuff for a while with his what's that shit called that he had in his
Sage.
Name? Sage. Explain me what Sage is again.
So the way I was explained to it's something that cleanses the soul.
What is it though?
It's like a spice.
Okay.
Or a seasoning or something. Yeah, like more like a spice. And you like what's the shit your brother uses when he smokes weed in the house? What's that stuff called?
There's a thing.
Incense. Okay,
Incense,
so it's like
okay.
an incense or something. Okay.
Okay.
So compare it to that.
So The Rock comes out with Travis Scott. Again, reasons I don't understand, but they come out together. They come to the ring, and I'm putting you in my mind as this is happening. And I'm sure we all had our own specific thoughts and emotions going to this. I'd love to hear them in the YouTube comments below or on social media at Iron on Wrestling. Let me know what you're thinking as all of this is playing out. And so they get in the ring. Rock is demanding that he wants his mind. He wants Cody's soul. And Travis Scott is doing a thing with the Sage in the corner, and Cena's just kind of in the background. And so I'm making comments to my brother. I'm like being sarcastic, and I'm making comments about like Grandpa Cena, and I said it in the back because it was sort of like. Obviously, there's moments where he's still moving like Cena, like the exchange with Punk. But then there's these moments where like he's kind of shuffling his feet in the match, and it's just like he's moving like an old man. It's so adorable and stuff. And so like the way he's like reacting and stuff, like I'm just like, oh, I love like supportive Grandpa Cena. Like it's so nice. And so Cody says that He can't give The Rock his soul because he's already given it to this ring, and he's given it to the fans, and he said, Rock, go fuck yourself. And so not only was I shocked that this was not bleeped, I think even more shocking to me, and sort of like I feel like the one on the show is fine. It was like a one-of-a-kind, a one-time deal that I don't know if we're ever going to get again. It was clearly purposely uncensored. I don't know if I would have let it continue on social media. Every clip the WWE post, it's uncensored. And I don't know how to feel about that because I don't know, like obviously there's a lot of kids at the show. There's a lot of kids watching the show. It's not like they haven't heard it before, but it just seems a little strange that they decided to not bleep it on social media.
Strange, but it also, I don't know that there's a better way to hammer home the point. Because I used to hate, and I know I've said on this podcast before, but when Eddie Guerrero would talk to Eric Bischoff and he'd say, you can kiss my, and then he would pat his butt, and then he would say so behind or something.
Corny, yeah.
It was always like some other word that wasn't asked because they were right in the middle of getting, what were they called?
Standards and practices.
Standards and practices,
yeah.
yes. So.
Yeah, it's always corny when a grown man doesn't say, like, at least a swear word. But really surprised by the fuck. And but it happened. It was impactful. Cena's like clapping in the background. He did his like bowling like fist up in the air. And then we sat on this for an awkward long period of time. And at one point, I don't remember if it was this point or the point before that, where it was like I made a comment to my brother about how Cena's just lingering in the background, making this awkward when he has nothing to do with it. Why is Travis Scott in the background with this freaking thing that he's lighting up? And I'm like, what a weird thing to do right now. And I started to think something's got to happen. And like, is Cody going to actually do something after this? Like, it just seems weird that he just said such a impactful phrase and then didn't do anything. And so finally Cody looks to Cena. And they meet in the middle, and they give each other dap, and they hug. And when they cut to Cena with the angered face, in my brain, it doesn't seem real. And I don't know. I will tell you the last time I experienced a feeling like this in a second. It doesn't seem real. And then Rock does the throat slash. And then Cena pulls away, and he smiles to Cody and immediately kicks him in the dick. And the people in the crowd jump up. And as it's happening, Aaron, I want to know what you did. But, like, legitimately, I grabbed my chest. And I looked at my brother. I said, oh, my God, my heart just dropped. Like, what is happening? And then I thought to myself, first of all, I can't believe as a 38-year-old man, I'm having this feeling for wrestling, which I love. I love that I feel this way watching this. But then I thought back, like, have I ever felt this way? And then I thought about Bash at the Beach 96 as this is happening. And I didn't know if I could ever experience that again for multiple reasons, because it might have been the best heel turn of all time up to that point. And I was also a kid, so I felt like a turn could never affect me in that way. The only other turn that I could think of that maybe even came close to that as a child was
Goldberg.
No, that turn sucked.
Duggan.
No.
Oh.
I would say Shawn super kicking Marty.
Yeah, but you didn't see that when you were a kid, right?
I did.
Oh,
I
really?
did, yeah.
Live or live to tape? Whatever?
Yeah, because like my first real
that's
year.
where I was going with. If I could say my shocking turn, only because I was so young and I thought, well, they just hugged.
Yeah.
So they're gonna go another few weeks.
Oh,
And
I
then
knew
they'll
he was
break
gonna
up.
do that.
And then it was like on, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw that live because my first, like, I have scattered memories from 1990. Obviously, my first event's WrestleMania 6, but I was a small child.
Oh.
But 91 is, like, the year embedded in my mind. So by 92, 93, obviously, I'm better with remembering that stuff. So, yeah, I watched that as it happened. What was it, Saturday or Sunday morning or whatever it was. But so my heart sank when I saw the kick to Cody, and I could not believe it. So, what were you feeling in these moments as this is all happening? Let me know what's going through your mind as a, 47-year-old man?
Don't worry about what I am.
Okay, all right.
But, no, here's what it was. I saw the embrace and I saw the blocking, the positioning.
Yeah.
That only Cena was looking at The Rock and Rock was looking at Cena.
Uh-huh.
And I went, oh, it's on. Like immediately, that's how I would have booked that. In my head, I go, okay, well, the heel turn right here. But then I immediately shut that down and said, Cena's swerving The Rock. This is great.
Yeah.
Because there's no way he's turning.
Yeah.
Well, I was wrong.
So the kick in the dick happens. Then what's your reaction? How are you
I felt
feeling?
like I got kicked in the dick.
Yeah.
I swear, man. It probably, and I kept saying, this is the wrong move. This is not how this should go.
Yeah.
And then I started going like what you were doing, like, hey, man, I'm like a dude that understands wrestling.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I don't understand it because everything I thought I understood is out the window because John Cena has turned against me and all my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, Monday, I'm going to have a lot of explaining to do at work because, Cena has sent packages to consumers of mine, clients at my work. And
he did like 2 Make-A-Wishes before the chamber.
Yeah, I know.
Can you
He
imagine?
kicked both those kids in the dick, too. I saw that.
Can you imagine being that kid, those kids, watching that show after that happens, being like, what the heck? I heard, I think Jimmy Corderas reported because he was in the building, that he saw kids in the crowd crying. And I got to imagine that if those kids felt the same thing that I felt at Bash to the Beach 96, I can't imagine anything but like overwhelming sadness and betrayal. And so the beatdown's happening. Cole calls it wrong and thinks that they're brass knuckles because clearly this wasn't explained, but then McAfee corrects him, tells him it's a Rolex that had fallen off of Cody when this happened. So I don't know if that was planned and Cena just went with it, but I feel like that had to kind of be planned to go with the story. Yeah. But I don't know for sure. He hits him with the Rolex. Travis Scott is getting involved, and I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed as this is happening because I'm like this is going to play out as one of the most iconic moments of all time.
And we're going to see this asshole.
What the fuck is this guy doing in the ring? So, like, what's happening is, like, Cena is, like, on top of Cody punching him, and then at one point, he's starting to hold Cody down, and Travis Scott comes over, and for some reason, he's just pulling his arm up, and then he starts, like, he puts his hand under Cody's chin and pushes it up, and then Cena, almost like a shoe, just pushes Cody by the back of the head and pushes him down. Because I think Cena knows, like, yo, we got to beat this dude with a belt. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And so then The Rock starts whipping him with the belt. And then at one point, Travis Scott punches Cody in the face for real. Like, I didn't notice it because they don't really show a good angle of it. But there's a couple other angles on social media of it. I thought that Cody's face was swollen from the belt shots. It had to be from this punch from Travis Scott because he fucking hit him hard to where if you watch it from the other angles, he legitimately winces and puts his face down and then has to pop it back up because he knows he's got to react to this belt that's about to go strapping across his back. And, Cena hits him with a couple belt shots to the head, and Cody's bleeding. He rips his shirt off. And in the closest thing to the Tony Schiavone, Hulk Hogan, you can go to hell, straight to hell call that we get is Michael Cole saying like, he wants to go out doing some shit like this. Come on, John. Like he said shit, and it became very, very real and surreal. And then we get this shot in the ring of Cena with his foot not like on his back or on his stomach, but like on the back of Cody's head, driving his face down the mat, his arms on his hips, standing side by side with the final boss, a bad guy Rock and bad guy Cena, and them two with Travis Scott leave the ring. They do a final look back into the ring. As the show goes off air, Michael Cole comes in the ring, Wade Barrett comes in the ring, and it makes sense logically that no one from the roster would come in the ring, because like you could say like logically in most cases, well, geez, Cody Rhodes has no friends. Why isn't anybody helping him? But it's like, who wants to be put in the position where they help Cody and then they feel the wrath of one of the main guys at TKO, the Rock, and now apparently his
final boss,
his corporate champion John Cena, and it was a moment that I don't think we will ever forget, and I lived through a lot of crazy, surreal wrestling moments. Like I said, I saw the Rockers turn, the NWO form. Not a turn, but the end of the streak. We're going to talk about some of the more shocking turns from you guys later on in the show. And now this John Cena turn. Aaron, overall, what did you think of this entire segment and turn? Travis Scott being involved. Give me your overall thoughts on the situation from Elimination Chamber.
Dude, I thought everything worked out really well. And if you wanted to get people pumped for WrestleMania, I mean, I guess this is the way to do it. Plus, the way everybody turns back and forth so quickly anymore. I mean, John Cena could have a 6-month heel run and turn babyface against The Rock for the last couple months of his farewell tour.
How do you feel about Travis Scott overall?
I was negative the whole time, and then I kept thinking, man, this is like Rodman, though.
That's where my brain went after the fact.
Yeah, and they knew that, and that's getting a lot of publicity. And my kids know Travis Scott more than 90% of the wrestlers, probably.
He's just had like 3 or 4 or 5 like number one singles for a while now. So
I don't even know a song he sings, or raps, or whatever he does. That's not really my thing anymore. I'm more old school, but so I guess I'm kind of okay with that. If The Rock and John Cena are okay with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I have to be okay with it, because Cena's not going to be like, yeah, put me with this guy, and that guy brings nothing to it.
Sure.
He brings something. It's just he's not great.
Something for Emily?
Maybe. Depends on if she wants it or not. Probably some sage.
Okay. Well, I want to delve deeper into this. I want to talk about what we think is going to happen over the next few months. We have 10 months left with John Cena, supposedly, but who knows? I mean, things could change now.
It could all be a work.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what to believe anymore, which I guess is not a bad thing. What's going to happen over the next 10 months? We want to read your guys' thoughts about the segment and perhaps what could happen going forward, and we're going to discuss where exactly this ranks as far as shocking heel turns in the history of professional wrestling. We're going to do all that after we pay some bills when we come back here on Iron on Wrestling. Aaron, I'm getting really excited about the design we're going to be sending out on our t-shirts for Patreon members.
Put that thing away.
I
You'll
can't
poke my eye out.
Well,
how excited are you?
There's too many fishing poles on this shirt, so I mean, someone might get their eye poked out. It's I'm pretty excited, and it's done by our good buddy. I think you know him.
Wait, our good buddy Juan of the Ortiz?
Yes, Juan Ortiz, and Of the Dead Designs has done our brand new Patreon exclusive long sleeve shirt that'll be going out this month. And you're thinking to yourself, it's about to be spring, why do I need a long sleeve shirt? Well, some people still wear hoodies in the spring, and also we were supposed to send these out in December. Better late than never. Okay, And, that's the same.
But most of our listeners are from Ohio. And
That's not true.
a lot of our listeners are from Ohio, and it's cold here until June.
I mean, that is true.
Yeah, so suck it.
But not the most of our listeners from Ohio. We got them all over.
I know we do.
All right.
But that doesn't work if I say we have listeners all over, and the people in Hawaii.
Yeah, California. They really want these long sleeve shirts. I'm talking to you, Crossed Out Howard. And, Juan Ortiz also thinks to himself, better late than never when it comes to reaching out to him for a high-quality design. A logo for your small business, something for yourself, a friend, a family member, a loved one. Why not reach out to Juan Ortiz, who's made some of the most prominent art for some of the most prolific figures in all of the pro wrestling industry? We're talking about individuals at the top of their game in WWE, AEW, Impact / TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Why would you not want to design from... Did he make something for someone at Mega?
I'm sure. I mean, you've worked for Mega before.
I guess,
so
yeah.
have I. So, yeah.
So that counts.
Does a Mega.
So, Juan Ortiz...
You can watch them on Thursday nights,
is willing to make a design for you. All you got to do is reach out to him. And if you mention Iron on Wrestling, he'll knock off 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks.
10.
No, 20.
It's half of that.
No, 20.
I was just talking to him.
He didn't say that. You're making that up.
He said I can only do $10 off
for you.
Yeah,
for you, but not the good people.
The people.
To the show. Yes, the people.
They get double.
Yeah, $20 off
what
your
have
first.
The people ever done for me?
$20 off your first design. So don't wait. Act now. Reach out to Juan Ortiz on any of his social media platforms. You can find him at Of The Dead Designs over on Instagram, Facebook.com/OfTheDeadDesigns, or you can go to his super official website, ofthedead.weebly.com, because I don't know if you know this, but Of The Dead Designs is bringing artwork to life.
Weebly.
Feels very unnecessary. And, in some ways...
You know what else is unnecessary, man?
You pretending to be a guy named Manscaped who's just an impression of Scott Hall when we don't even have Manscaped as a sponsor anymore?
Say goodbye to Manscaped.
I gave you the brand new Patreon exclusive shirt and you're wearing a goddamn Manscaped shirt. They haven't sponsored us in over a year.
You gave me a long sleeve shirt.
So what? It's cold in your house.
Not for me. Only for bitches.
For a lot of wrestling fans, it's very cold right now.
Yeah.
Dealing with the cold, harsh reality of John Cena being a bad guy.
He's a cold-hearted snake. Look into his eyes.
Well,
he's been telling lies.
We got a lot of comments today as we went to social media and did the weekly.
Well, here's my comment. F you.
Wow. We did the weekly Ask Me Anything, but also, what do you think about the John Cena turn? Where is it going? What are the most shocking turns ever? And we're going to start with some Patreon subscribers first. And Eric Phillips made sure to call me out right away in a comment that says, so after last week's bonus episode, available exclusively at patreon.com/ironwrestling, where you buried The Rock and WWE booking, will you apologize to the final boss? Do you agree now that this is all planned and should have waited like Aaron Simmons Bauer told you to? Also, the greatest heel turn is when Matt Hardy killed Jeff Hardy's dog in a fire. Also, when HBK turned on his longtime tag team partner, Hulk Hogan. Okay, so let's start with...
that was a good one.
Let's start,
honestly.
Let's start with the last part first. When talking about heel turns... well, technically, the heel turn didn't occur by killing the dog in the fire. That actually happened in real life, and then they bled into the storyline. The actual heel
Matt
turn,
Hardy killed his dog in real life, right?
Well, that they made that the story that he set Jeff's house on fire, but the actual turn happened at the 2009 WWE Royal Rumble, which was in Detroit, Michigan. I just happened to be there when Matt Hardy turned on Jeff Hardy. But I guess you could take into consideration that he tried to explode his own brother in pyrotechnics display on the stage, and he burnt down his house and killed his dog.
But that was the second time, right? There was like a ill-fated first turn, right? Something with Lita.
So there wasn't an official turn, but what they were doing was they were teasing that there was going to be a breakup, and there was like some sort of disagreement, and Lita was caught in the middle, and this culminated in a match that is kind of forgettable considering that it's Jeff versus Matt Hardy at Vengeance 2001, where Lita was the guest referee, and she was looking very good in that referee shirt. And that was Vengeance, the same pay-per-view where Jericho became the undisputed champion for the first time. Fun fact for you. Yeah,
Never forget that one.
Yeah, official theme song, Sinner by Drowning Pool.
Oh.
Anyway, I thought it was a fun fact. But
okay, cool.
Second part, when HBK turned on his longtime tag team partner Hulk Hogan. Hey, listen, I know they weren't longtime tag team partners, but when it happened, I was shocked.
I was very shocked.
Okay, I didn't see it coming. I didn't see a Shawn Michaels heel turn coming in 2005. But you know what? I was pumped because you know what I thought to myself? I thought to myself, if Hulk Hogan wrestles Shawn Michaels, not only is it kind of a weird dream match, but it might be the best match of Hulk Hogan's career. And to this day, I know people try to make comments about Shawn Michaels overselling. I think it made the match even better.
I loved it.
It was great.
Yeah, I loved every second of it. And I didn't even know he was really overselling. Because Michaels sells like that a lot.
Yeah.
And it was Hulk Hogan, so maybe he was having fun with it, but who gives a shit?
I mean, still the best part is, like, no one's taking a big boot better than Shawn Michaels taking it. Yeah. And then while Hogan is still falling through with the boot, Shawn pops back up, flailing his arms around, and kicks himself back down to where Hulk turns around to see him bumping again, to where like he even looks back at the hard camera like, what the fuck? And then delivers a leg drop. I know you're being sarcastic, but that was a good heel turn. And then for that month where Shawn was doing heel stuff, he was channeling Shawn Michaels 1997, and I loved every second of that, especially when you consider the fake appearance of Bret Hart that he teased while cutting a promo on Canada in Montreal. Mm-hmm. And, the crowd was very pissed off about that. As far as apologizing to the final boss, look, I will apologize to the final boss for, I guess, not believing that he was going to bring the hot fire with the way the story turned out at Elimination Chamber. But I'm not going to apologize for thinking the promo was rambly and repetitive and did not need 25 minutes. I will not apologize there.
Yeah, and I don't even know that this has been set in stone for that whole time.
Listen, I don't.
They didn't even know that Hogan was going to be the third man until he came out and he actually did the leg drop.
Right.
So I don't think anybody knew Cena would actually follow through with this. And I got to take it from Cena when I hear it from him because he's much more honest than the other guy when he tells his stories.
Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
Are you saying he's a liar?
I'm saying that's a segment we have on this show.
In response, Candice LeRae's brother, Cole, said this. While I agree wait and see where this is going is the right idea before you shit all over awful booking, that promo was brutal and awful TV. They stretched a simple 6-minute segment, including entrances, into a 28-minute, nonsensical, rambling, incoherent ego stroke. Then hit the one line that mattered in the end. Every talking segment doesn't need to be 30 minutes. I believe this is sarcasm from Eric. I think I know him well enough to
hold on. What was the commenter's name? Cole Dawson?
Yes.
His sister had a fantastic performance at this pay-per-view, at this PLE, whatever.
I texted Candice after.
Yeah.
I said, I can't believe I just watched you versus Trish Stratus in the Sky Dome.
I know, man. I know. I was saying it to Jerry while we were there, and he's like, dude, this is so great for her. Like, dream come true, maybe?
Yeah.
And I don't know that because I don't talk to Candice nearly as much as you do.
Sure.
But I would have to think, like, man, that's got to be right up there with the greatest moment of your career.
Yeah. Surreal.
Maybe that and the time that, her and Johnny wrestled you.
Yeah. Well,
and Alex?
I think it's hard to top that.
Right.
But Eric responded to Cole, I loved it. It gave us a big turn we weren't expecting. People threw a fit at Raw Netflix, but as we can see, it was all planned. I've learned to just enjoy the ride, especially after the Bloodline story. We are all expecting checkers while The Rock is playing chess out there.
What's the What's that throat slash he does?
The one finger? I don't know. I guess that's a
With The Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it was like it goes up his chin and to his cheek.
It was a little. It was.
And then it goes from one finger to two.
Well, people are trying to read into that he did 3 fingers when he was at Bad Blood.
Yeah. I did 3 fingers one time.
Apparently that hurt too much, so he decided to do 2 fingers now. But you would assume that it's down to 2 because he's taken out Cody. But who's left? You got to imagine Roman. And hey, look, you know what? People are trying to guess the third person. They're naming like, oh, well, it's got to be Jimmy. He was in the ring. It's not Jimmy. Oh, it's got to be. Yeah, well, Jimmy was in the ring.
Jimmy, what, Uso?
Uso, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
it's got
that.
to be Jimmy. Here's what I think. I think, and let's just call this now, number 3 might be John Cena.
I was going to say the same thing.
There you go.
I was going to say it too. What's up with Rock
Cena?
always having these weird things with his hand gestures? So, like, Bloodline, they put the one finger up.
Oh, yeah.
But he had to make it like a backwards L or something.
Yeah.
And now he's doing his weird throat slashing thing. Hey, and also, that dude is older than everyone in that federation, basically. And he's the largest individual I've ever seen.
Still the largest he's ever been.
He's so big and massive. And when Randy Orton came out, I was like, man, look how big Randy Orton is. For his age, he's the biggest I've ever. There can't be anybody bigger. Rock comes out. Cena comes out. Cena looks thinner, and he needs a tan, but Rock is massive.
Yeah, I'd like to see actually current Orton.
Drug test results?
No.
Me too.
Well, no. Current Orton.
Actually, I don't give a shit.
Next to Rock. Orton and Rock, see how big they are next to each other.
About the same height.
Yeah. Eric also says, David Arquette turning on DDP. I can sense more sarcasm. Tatanka joining the $1 Million Corporation, which I will always rank as a very shocking turn. And you know what? Yeah. I'm going to throw this out here. You guys know I love wrestling figures. I don't need another Tatanka action figure, but because of what it's going to be in remembrance of, Hastel Toys, which has recently made great T.L. Hopper figures and Harvey Whippleman figures and a bunch of British Bulldog figures. And I'm trying to think what else I bought for them. The Men on the Mission ones. Really good, most accurate to Hasbro figures out right now. They're going to be coming out with a Tatanka 1994 $1 Million Corporation version, which includes 2 stacks of money. So one you could put one stack in Tatanka's hand, then you could take your Hasbro $1 Million Man and put a stack of money in his hand because he never came with money. And I'm super pumped about it. So yeah.
Wait. You would take the $1 Million Man? Virgil always held the money.
Yeah, but like Virgil wasn't a part of the $1 Million Corporation, so that's why you got to put DiBiase and Tatanka.
Yeah, you're using logic, brother.
And then I forgot about this one. Eric said, shocking turn, Eugene on Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Do you remember when Eugene turned heel for the end of his run?
Yeah, maybe a little teeny bit, yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah, well, they did it with Duggan. Everybody has to turn.
Yeah, but
in the 80s you didn't because Steamboat and Tito, I think.
Right. But based on Eugene's character, that'd be like a client at work, like at your job, acting out, and you'd be like, this is a bad person. Like, well, he's mentally handicapped, so I mean, you can't really judge him for that. I felt that was very awkward.
That's how I feel about you.
What? Pete over on Patreon.
What up, Pete?
Was
Big Dog Pete.
My favorite turn was Flair turning on Sting. I laugh just thinking about it, and it's the of course it's the one from Halloween Havoc 95 where Flair is on the apron the whole time, comes in for the hot tag from Sting. He struts, hits the rope, and then just punches Sting in the face. It's so absurd. It's not shocking, but it's definitely a funny turn. Let's see what else we got here from Patreon. Josh Newman said, Josh Excellent, most shocking heel turn, Big Show. Yes, that one. Okay. Sarcasm. I know you're being sarcastic, but Aaron, can you think of a Big Show heel turn? And if so, what would you say would be, out of all of them, the best Big Show heel turn? Because I have one at my disposal, and technically it's Paul White. Paul White in general.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe the Survivor Series with the Authority versus Team Cena, and Ziggler ends up winning. Isn't that the one?
That's a pretty big
show. Because
yeah.
like you're not expecting it. Stephanie's been smacking the shit out of him. He's been crying. They've been mocking him.
That was a babyface turn, wasn't it?
No. Because he was babyface.
Oh,
and then he's on Team Cena against the Authority, and he's going to start the match off with Mark Henry. I think it's Mark Henry.
Okay.
And as soon as they are across from each other, he just punches him in the face. With, I guess that was his finish at the time.
Right, yeah. The
punch to the face.
The weapon of mass destruction or whatever the fuck.
Oh, yeah.
WMD. Right. I'm going to say that his best and most significant turn, which in retrospect, I still wish it never happened based on what the story was. Even at the time, I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. When he wasn't Big Show, when the Giant joined the NWO.
Yeah.
I think that was probably...
I didn't like it at all, though. Hated it, because he wasn't somebody that was previously in the WWE.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I hated it. It didn't make any sense on paper, but he came out. He was a tweener at the time. This is '96. You think he's going to save the day, and then he starts choke slamming everybody. And considering what.
And it was Ming and the Barbarian that he choke slammed. That wasn't as impactful.
But here's the thing, though. I don't remember the reasoning after the fact, but
DiBiase paid him.
Is that it?
I think so.
Because he got embarrassed by the NWO for a couple months. Hogan took the belt from him, and then also to make it even less significant. Again, it was impactful in that moment because it was what the fuck, someone else is joining the NWO. But by January of '97, he's a babyface again, fighting Hogan because they're in the main event of Sold Out, which is awful. Well, dog shit.
The rumor was Hogan and Big Show had become really good friends and lived next to each other in Florida. And so they would go over to each other's houses, but they didn't want the neighbors to look and go, hey, you guys are in the middle of a feud on Nitro on Mondays. So Hogan wanted Show to be in the NWO, so that way it looked better. I don't know what's true and what isn't, but that's what I heard. That makes sense to me.
It's... I think that was most impactful because I literally can't think of another Big Show heel turn where I was like, oh yeah,
because there were so many of them too,
Maybe I guess honorable mention again because it's like peak fandom for me when he turned heel after he was screwed out of winning the Royal Rumble in 2000 when him and The Rock went out and The Rock's feet clearly touched the floor. But how are you going to compete as a baby against The Rock when he's making fun of you? One of my favorite things from that feud is let's show a clip of what you do best, Big Show, and it's The Rock on the Titantron doing the hand choke slam gesture, going. He's just like, now let's see that from another angle, and it's Rock at his side profile. So it just oh god, I was 14, so
Rock was good.
Yeah. Anyways, Juan Ortiz says, is John Cena going to revert the attitude adjustment back to the FU? And he adds, most shocking turn, which I forgot about when he mentioned this, X-Pac betraying Kane. Yeah. I did like that turn. And also, I feel because, I'm not even sure why, but I feel in an era where even though everybody had a lot of storylines, the things underneath were kind of I don't want to say insignificant, but it was hard to sink your teeth in. But for some reason, when you talk about odd couple tag teams, but also ones that created emotional investment, there's something that you really believed in with the relationship between X-Pac and Kane. And it was the first time that the Kane character could truly trust someone that wasn't his brother. And so when X-Pac turned his back on Kane, especially with the hype being when D-Generation X comes back in the late summer of 1999, X-Pac's doing all these promos with Kane where he's like, hey, this DX thing, it's just something I'm doing on the side. And then he fucks him over. And then on top of that, he steals Tori away from Kane, not Tori Wilson, but the Tori before Tori. He wins that match where he gets
Tori Amos.
He gets to have Tori as his property for a week, and then she comes back from the Christmas break, and then she's acting different, and then she betrays Kane. So
that was more shocking to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you really think they were going to keep Tori with?
No. But I think it was a shocking turn.
Yeah.
like for the public or whatever. I mean, I kind of, nothing really shocks me anymore.
Sure.
So even back then, nothing was really shocking me. I had already saw the most shocking turns. One, Mr. Wonderful when he turned against Hulk Hogan.
Listen.
And it's never...
I want to point out that every time we say this, we're mocking someone we know. But go ahead, say what you're gonna say.
This is the only time. There's never been another time when one man raised another man's arm after victory, and then he sucker punched him.
Yeah, like literally someone we know, an older wrestler said to us in thinking about a heel turn, the only thing I could think of to do for this heel turn is just like what Paul Orndorff did to Hulk Hogan. I've never, ever seen another wrestler do this before. He raised his hand, and then he clotheslined. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that's the most basic, easy heel turn. It's been done over and over and over again. Is John Cena going to revert the attitude? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is the question I wanted to answer here.
So what do you think? Is he going to go back to calling it the FU?
No, he's going to call it the F off. Isn't that what Cody said to Rock?
Go fuck yourself.
Go. Okay,
but
so then...
However, to go back, The Rock said off is where you could fuck. Maybe it is the fuck off.
Yeah.
So no, I think it'll probably be the FU. It's probably the easiest way to go. I mean, at this point, they're saying fuck, so why not move the FU?
Oh yeah, you definitely got to go back to that.
Bradley,
which is going to make him cooler.
Yeah, Bradley J. Head added it could possibly work because Raw is on Netflix. Well, I don't think they're going to be saying Fs. Yeah, the product didn't really change because they were on Netflix, but I see what you're saying here. Who else do we have from Patreon? You guys need to participate more. I swear to God, we got almost 100 of you on there, and you guys aren't submitting your questions, damn it. Paul Stratoti says, I never saw him as a heel before when he was a prototype, and I always wanted him to turn as he recently did. Well, technically, we did see Cena as a heel for a cup of coffee when he was Thugonomics John Cena. So we got that from about end of 2002 until October-ish of 2003. Because, the raps were just too good. You couldn't keep him heel.
It was great, man.
Yeah. It was
bought the stupid-ass DVD of his. John Cena's best matches or something.
Yeah.
It was called Word Life or something.
Word Life, yeah. It was a little documentary.
And, what's this, 2003?
Yeah.
And I just remember getting ready to go out to TNA in Nashville with John McChesney. Mm-hmm. And I was falling asleep watching that DVD, and nobody having a remote, so we couldn't get up and shut it off.
Yeah.
Or we couldn't shut it off with a remote. So the rest of the night, every time you wake up, you just kept hearing Word Life.
Yeah.
This is basic Thugonomics.
Yeah.
Word Life. And it was stuck in our heads, so the whole way to Tennessee, we're just doing Word Life.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, no, and you know what? Listen, I do think that from the time he started really picking up momentum as a heel was probably after WrestleMania 19. He wasn't even featured on the show. Originally, he was supposed to do... I think the gimmick was like, maybe you remember, he was supposed to, they tried to get like Eminem or something for WrestleMania 19 and it fell through. And so instead of putting him on the show, if you do some searching, you can find him appear on the pre-show for WrestleMania 19 and he does a rap battle against like a cardboard cutout, I think, of Eminem and maybe Method Man or something. It's hard to find, actually.
It's, I believe, it's Fabulous.
It was Fabulous.
And Jay-Z.
Okay. All right. That's what it was.
I think the Eminem thing was like way far out there. Like we would try to get him.
Yeah. Okay.
But there was they weren't getting him. And I don't know why, because Eminem's a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with that. But I do know that he challenged Fabulous and Jay-Z to a rap battle.
Okay. That's
what year was that?
2003.
Yeah.
And so after WrestleMania, Brock's first opponent is John Cena, which is where he comes up with because he's wrestling Brock, who has the F5. John Cena is going to have the FU. And then he has the match with Brock, which is not that bad. Go back and watch it. It's not that bad for the time period of John Cena. And I think he had a couple matches with Kurt Angle right towards the end of his heel run. And then the one that always stands out to me because of the build to it was The Undertaker, when he was the American Badass, versus John Cena at Vengeance 2003. I think they had a really, really strong match on that show.
But again, the rap was too solid leading up to it.
Yes.
I think John Cena's freestyle or whatever was something about pissing on the dead man's grave.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, man, come on. How could you not like this guy?
Yeah, it was amazing.
I mean, maybe little kids were like, oh, you can't say that to my hero, the Undertaker. But, man, I was like, oh, this dude's bringing it.
Darren Burris says McMahon screwing Bret Hart was a huge turn. It was real life, obviously, and then art imitates life, and then we get the big Mr. McMahon character. You know what we got to talk about at some point? I know we've done like a couple fantasy booking things, and we're gonna try to fantasy book the Cena thing here today. I've been thinking about a lot lately. I was listening to something, and it got me thinking that if Bret Hart never left the WCW, and they would have honored his contract, and we don't get the screw job, we probably don't get Vince McMahon. And I just wonder where Bret fits into the Attitude Era going forward. I don't think he would had a problem considering the '97 that he had.
Yeah, he was great.
But it's strange to think about a world where we don't get Vince McMahon as a bad guy.
If we don't get Vince McMahon, guess who else we don't get? Stone Cold.
See, that's the thing. Again, and this is a question. If I had to ask Steve something, the question I want to ask him is: he always says that Bret made him, and that WrestleMania 13
Text him
match
right now.
Solidified him. I don't want to just
come on, just do it.
It would be a great.
He has a picture of you in his.
He does. He does have a drawing of me naked with him and his dog in his room.
I might be in that picture too. We don't know for sure.
You're not in it.
We're thinking I might be.
But no. If Bret doesn't make Austin, or at least solidify the character, what is the feud in the match that solidifies Stone Cold going forward? It's hard. I can't if Bret goes to WCW '96 like was originally planned, who does he feud with? Who does he wrestle at Survivor Series? Does he even wrestle on Survivor Series? And what does he do at WrestleMania 13? I think that's a very important question because that was WrestleMania 13 sucks. Besides that match, that is what WrestleMania 13 is known for, and it's arguably the best match in the history of WrestleMania. That's my rambling. Anyways. Darren,
I don't disagree with any of that. I want to know the answer now. So
I do too.
I just want you to text him. Can we pause this? My mic's not even on today, is it?
Your mic is on.
Oh, okay.
Cena wins at WrestleMania. This is what Darren says, but he will eventually turn face again before retiring. So what do you think about that? So, because I don't think I disagree with Darren, because here's what I think of. A lot of people are comparing this turn to Austin, which I can see the similarities. If you think about the Austin turn, A, no one ever wanted to hate Steve as hard as they tried. But B, when you really think about it, his heel turn, it starts at WrestleMania, April 1st, 2001. It's over the night after Survivor Series in 2001 when they end the invasion angle, okay? Yeah. And then they really don't even do anything other than somehow they make Kurt Angle the bad guy because he's being kind of cocky, even though he technically helped WWF survive, and then Stone Cold just randomly comes out and beats up.
Dude, here's the thing.
Go ahead.
That whole... The acquiring of WCW, while overall ended up being a good thing for WWE, that was just the worst possible timing for it. Because it totally... If Steve Austin ever had any semblance of a chance of getting this heel character over, it was already over because he aligned himself with the Alliance. And even, that sucks, dude.
Even as a kid, with him walking around wearing a WCW shirt and everything, I remember thinking, I want a reasoning because... I had already saw all the ECW promos. He's shitting on Bischoff. I'm getting smart to the internet, so I'm reading stuff. I wanted to know why, after the horrible experience he had in WCW, why would he join WCW? It just seemed like a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
And
it killed it for me. He had no credibility then.
Yeah.
As a heel, it was oh, here's just some dude going through the motions.
And he had such a good...
There was a good run there, though, especially with Angle in that alliance. And him bossing some people around. He got into it with Taz.
Yes. Listen. I said we did a podcast back in the archives. You can go back and find it. We pointed out all the good things that came out of the invasion because I think there's more things that came out of it than people tend to look at. But there was also a lot of shit. And look, Austin could have just, you know what? He could almost had a clean slate after the heel turn that no one wanted, because when he turned babyface for 1 week, when they built the whole episode of Raw before the invasion around him, where he goes to the bar, he's contemplating what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Vince wants him to rejoin the WWF and help WWF survive against the biggest threat in the history of the World Wrestling Federation, the WCW ECW alliance. And then at some point, they're shooting Austin in the fucking bar, and he gets pissed off, and he fucking breaks that pool cue on the pool table. He heads out, and the next thing we see is a bunch of WCW and ECW guys fighting WWF guys in the parking lot, and all of a sudden a truck comes speeding up, and Austin gets out of the vehicle, and he starts beating the shit out of him. And then one of the biggest pops you'll see Austin ever get is when they're having the big brawl in the ring. ECW, WCW, and WWF, the glass shatters, and Austin comes out like a bat out of hell, and he's just fucking stunning everybody. I remember being so pumped and then so fucking sad sitting in the goddamn crowd. I think for me, his turn to a heel again at Invasion was worse than WrestleMania, because listen, all right, hold on. I wanted to do this later, but let's do it now. For me, I want you to rank, because I would argue that the top 3 heel turns of all time, in no particular order, I'm going to say Hogan, Austin, Cena. But what order do you put those in for you personally? The Austin, and I'm talking the Austin turn at WrestleMania 17. When you talk about big,
that's not even a thing for me. I didn't even like it.
So put it in order.
So that would be last.
Which one?
The Austin turn.
Okay.
And then Cena's right above him, because it's too new for me. Hogan's number 1. Although I kind of expected it with Hogan. So
why do you still go Hogan number 1? Is it because the Cena thing is so fresh?
Yeah, just the impact it's had. Because Hogan joining the NWO, I mean, that's it, man. WCW's winning for a while now.
So I would also put the Austin heel turn at the bottom, and I do that because I've discussed this before on the show, and I've never heard anybody else say this, but look, it was shocking, but when I watched it, and so to preface this again, because I didn't have cable until like the summer of 2001, I would give my buddy at school $5 to tape the replay for me, and he would bring it to school the next day. So I end up watching WrestleMania 17 on tape delay. I know no results. I don't know what's going to happen. I purposely avoid spoilers, and I go home after school and I watch this. Because they're in Texas, it doesn't register with me that he's a bad guy. Because I know JR is putting it over on commentary, and I see him shake hands with McMahon, and I'm waiting for the stunner that never comes. I'm like, okay, like Austin just fucking used Vince for whatever reason. He's going to stun him now. And then he didn't. And then I remember as the pay-per-view ends, I remember just going like, so is Austin a bad? Because like, to me, him beating the shit out of someone with a chair, like, we're in the Attitude Era. Like, it didn't seem that too far off the beaten path for someone to do. Like, it didn't seem like this was like this big character
for the
change.
title, yeah.
Right.
And it's something that he would have done as a babyface.
Yes. And so for me, it was just kind of like I watched Raw that night, and I'm just like, all right, I guess. And then like he quickly aligns with Triple H, and I'm like, oh, 2-man power trip, sweet. So like I was into that, and like also I didn't want to boo Austin, so like it didn't resonate with me. I think I know what you're saying, that it's fresh, and we don't know what it's going to look like going forward. But I'm saying this. I'm saying Austin, Hogan, and then I'm going Cena at number 1. And here's why. When the Hogan thing happens, I think that there is... So I'm a kid, right? I'm a kid when it happens.
I already know what you're going to say, and I agree now.
What am I going to say?
You're going to say that you have an Alyssa Milano poster from when she was 11.
No, that has nothing to do with it.
Sorry.
I'm saying what I'm saying is like I think Hogan
because people were ready to boo him.
They were already booing him.
people are just now back to 100% babyface Cena.
So that's my.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Yeah,
I'm still cheering Hogan because I'm a little kid. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm like, what am I at that point? 9, 10. I'm still cheering Hogan, but the majority of the audience is not. It becomes survival for Hogan to turn. And I think there's this revisionist history of, yes, it's been cited, but like people act like it was shocking, but was it really that shocking when you
That's
really
what I said.
think
For
about
me,
it?
it wasn't as shocking.
Yeah.
Also, we got to bring up, he flirted with being a heel in the Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah,
just like 6 months before that.
How fucking shitty was that? But here and listen, I can't imagine someone legitimately believed that the Cena thing was going to happen. But I've said it before and I'll state it again. This kid's house that I went to, who I wasn't friends with, that I met like that week, just asked me to come over and watch Bastard of the Beach, and his dad sat in the living room when they show that backstage promo where Mean Gene's pretending like he could hear a voice behind the door, and it sounds familiar, but he just can't figure out who it is. And this guy just goes, Hulk Hogan. It's Hulk Hogan. He's the third man. And I remember being like, no, you're so stupid. Much like Aaron last week on the show where Aaron was like, John Cena, his turn heel. And I'm like, no, you fucking idiot. They could never do that. And Johnny Gargano was like, John Cena's turn heel. I'm like, no. Because honestly, you could say it. But who believed the Cena thing was happening? And here's the thing. Hogan, you shouldn't have to put a length of time on this, but when you really think about Hogan's the top guy for 12 years, and then he turns heel. Cena is the top babyface for 21 years, to the point where now he's leaving. You can't even imagine that this guy is going to be a bad guy on the way out. Why would you do that? And then it happens. I think it's incredibly shocking, and I think...
Dude, would you be able to miss Raw on Netflix tonight? Say that John Cena, or SmackDown, okay? Say, when is Cena's first appearance back?
So it's not...
Or, okay, never mind any of that. If Cena were going into WrestleMania as a babyface, you could probably miss Raw and SmackDown. Like, you would have to watch it. You could watch it the next day. You could see highlights, something like that. Cena as a heel, I felt like I have to watch Raw. I don't know if he's going to... Maybe they'll do a live interview with him from, the set of his movie. And he's Superstar Rock now, or Superstar Cena now, just like Rock. They're wearing sunglasses. He's wearing one of Rock's fucking crazy shirts or something. I don't know what to expect, but I know I got to see it. So I'm going to tune in tonight, and I'm going to tune in on Friday, and I'll probably watch NXT. And it wouldn't have been that way had Cena been just going into it as a man challenging his alter ego, it seems like.
Jay Warner over on Facebook says, I think this one is up there with Hogan going NWO. I certainly did expect it. Like I said, controversial take. I think it is better. It is more shocking, and I think going forward, I think it's going to pan out. Considering how long-term booking has looked for WWE, I think it's gonna turn out better than the NWO thing. Because again, think about it. Those first few months, even if we really even want to overanalyze it, listen, there were some missteps even in the beginning of the NWO. Okay, we just talked about the Giant joining. It was fucking dumb, but it was still fine. We let it go because the NWO was the hot thing. All right, and then by '97, you got like a fucking 100 guys already.
Yeah.
No fitting conclusion to the NWO thing. I have faith that there's going to be a fitting conclusion to John Cena as a bad guy, and I don't. Sure. And I agree. I don't think the year ends with Cena as a bad guy because I think Cena, for years, he's been known as Super Cena, and I think this is where we realize that John Cena is every other human, and he makes mistakes. He sees the error of his ways, and I don't know if it culminates in something with him and The Rock. In a match, because I can't see...
It could be just the bump. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just the bump off the AA.
Like, I can't see The Rock wrestling John Cena in his final match on a pay-per-view called Ruthless Aggression in December in Boston. Seems totally obnoxiously fake to me for that even to be a scenario that happens. But I think Cena sees the error of his ways, and much like Austin, I think by like November, we got babyface Cena back to close it out. I mean, like it just.
Yep.
It's hard to imagine him getting 17 as a heel, but I think that's gonna happen. What do you think? I
don't know if it'll happen. It might not until he rights his ways.
So here,
because he's not his real self.
Here's devil's advocate. I want to say that he's going to win 17 at WrestleMania because I feel like after 21 years as a babyface, if you turn heel and then you fucking lose, you're aligned with The Rock. If you can't win with The Rock on your side, you have to win. And I feel like now we get those matches that we wanted, but now all the matches with all the guys that we've seen him wrestle before are now fresh. Because we have
saw what happened with Punk. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. We got heel Cena versus babyface Punk. Yeah. We could have heel Cena versus babyface Randy Orton, which again we've never had before.
Heel Cena versus Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's such a good babyface.
Yes,
that'll be great. Oh, did you want to fantasy book this? Because I got some ideas. Also, wait, I remembered, I think maybe the biggest, most impactful heel turn of all time for me was Andre the Giant.
Yeah, you know what? Yes.
See, but, I know a lot of people aren't going to feel that way because they weren't alive then or weren't watching wrestling then.
But if you were, you should feel that.
It ripped my heart out. I have said this before on the show and told you that I had a legal pad, and I wrote a 3-page letter to Andre the Giant about what he did was wrong. He was in the wrong. He made a mistake. It doesn't matter whose trophy's bigger. It's the friendship and all the Hulkamaniacs. All this kind of stuff instead of doing my math homework. And I sent it to the WWF headquarters, and I don't think Andre got it. But I was sure Andre was going to read it and be like, you know what? I did mess up. This kid's
No. Say it in Andre's voice.
Did anybody run a peanut?
The world champion, tag team
champion. I want to be a world champion.
Well, so I understand.
I never lost a match in my life.
I think every generation that's watched wrestling since it's really become, well, before it was even dubbed sports entertainment, when it became something that was predetermined. I think we've all had that era changing heel turn or moment that is surreal, right? Like for some kids, not even a turn, but again, The Undertaker losing the streak, even as many a grown man, myself included, were like, this has to be incorrect. They screwed up. This can't be real. Almost like deafening shock and awe in the crowd. You go back in time. I think Triple H mentioned it in the press conference and something I've read about for years. Bruno Sammartino has told a story about when he lost the WWF championship to Ivan Koloff in the Garden, and he thought that he had gone deaf when the 3 count went down until he heard one guy yell, and he's like, "Oh, I still have my hearing." The crowd went silent because they couldn't believe that after 7 years or whatever, that Bruno could have possibly lost the WWF championship.
And they were there to see it.
Ron Omaria over on Facebook commented, "As a kid, the most shocking heel turn I saw was Larry Zbyszko attacking Bruno Sammartino with a chair after a friendly sparring match on TV. Bruno was loved by fans, and Larry soon became the biggest heel in pro wrestling." And of course,
this guy saw that?
Yeah, he's an older guy.
Wow.
So this is 1979.
Yeah.
Of course, revisionist history, Hulk Hogan will tell you that him and Andre drew the sellout crowd to Shea Stadium in 1980. They did not. They were one of the featured matches, but the main event was the steel cage between Larry Zbyszko and Bruno. And I'd like to know why Larry Zbyszko never did anything in the WWF after that. I mean, it just seems strange that he had such a big angle with Bruno and then...
And everybody talks highly of Larry Zbyszko.
Yeah.
Any wrestlers, they're always like, "Oh, Larry gave me everything. Larry would do anything for you. Larry would sell his ass off." Well,
yeah, yep. Steve McGinnis says there's a really good interview with CVV where he outlined, he being John Cena, everything he had in place when they planned it previously. Bear in mind, he started as a heel, but LOL, Cena wins makes us forget that. It'll be Hogan-esque. He plays the heel, has a final match with a major babyface, gets face cheers, allowing a double turn in the match, and then retires on that high. Only downside is more Travis Scott being irrelevant and hanging around ringside. At least Bad Bunny could wrestle. So let's start with the last part first. Listen, initially hated the Travis Scott thing. I still think I kind of do, but I immediately went to Rodman after the fact because Rodman always looked high as a kite, like he didn't really know what he was doing, and like it brought eyes to the product, so I get why they would want to do that. As far as his idea, again, working backwards here, thinks he has a match with a major babyface as a heel, gets face cheers, allowing a double turn. I mean, I could see maybe one turn, but I don't know if there would be a double turn. I don't know if we're turning someone else to turn John Cena back into a babyface. I don't know if that's how that's going to play out. What do you think?
Nah, we don't need to do a double turn, but that turn, Cena will get cheered.
As far as the CVV interview, if you haven't watched it, I think it's probably his most recent CVV interview from a while ago. He talks about how he had new gear in place, I believe a singlet. He made new music. This is in 2012. Did you see this interview?
No.
So apparently this was going to be his heel turn after the match with The Rock, the first match with The Rock, and then Vince got cold feet. Didn't want to lose the golden goose that was selling all the merch for that time in the 2010s, and they didn't do it. So now the question is Cena going to stick with some of those original ideas that he was going to do? But also, this shows how smart Cena is. One of the things he talks about in the CVV interview is that, to be a heel, all you have to do is like flip all of the characteristics that make you that endearing good guy, right? Instead of hustle, loyalty, respect, like you just go opposite of that.
Lie, cheat, and steal.
Yeah, it seems so simple, but like also like beyond what you see the character in the ring, if you look at Cena's Twitter, he's posting something inspiring every day. If you listen to any of his interviews, the level of dedication the guy has sometimes almost seems like borderline inhuman, that someone could be so dedicated and hardworking. So the fact that in story he would stoop to any level, not for riches or a big locker room or a truck like Rock was offering up or fucking 500 million social media followers, but for the chance to go down in history as having the most championships ever in WWE and ending his losing streak. The guy's lost for like 4 years straight.
Right.
So desperate
squashed by the Undertaker.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was bad. Well,
didn't John come out of the crowd? He was drinking a beer or something.
He was sitting in the crowd for most of the show, and then they do like this 5-minute Undertaker Cena match, which was incredibly disappointing. I think Undertaker just mentioned on record that he was very disappointed, that he thought he trained for a 30-minute match. And then that day, Vince was like, 5 minutes. And like Undertaker was like, what? And like, let's talk to John. And John was like, cool with a 5-minute match. And we're like, what the fuck, man? That's crazy to think about. So there's that. All right. Before we start to wrap this up, you had some ideas for fantasy booking the next 10 months. So what do you got? How does it turn out for John Cena?
I think next logical move to when he's back on TV, whether it's a SmackDown or Saturday night's main event leading up to pay-per-view, I need John Cena to face R-Truth.
Oh, that's got to happen at some point,
right?
right?
R-Truth has to get serious.
Yeah.
And because it was John Cena.
That was R-Truth's childhood hero.
Right. He's got to be crushed the most. And then for Cena to put an ass whooping on him.
Yeah.
Stretch him, choke him out, whatever, in that STFU.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little whipping. No, he can't do that. Maybe the Rock whips R-Truth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think we got to do that.
Sure. What happens at Mania?
I got him over Rhodes now. You talked me into it.
Okay, I talked you into it.
Yeah, you definitely talked me into it.
Okay.
And then a run against, right afterwards, Punk.
That's got to happen. Well, we just saw this
Right.
past Monday on Raw that Punk
I know
was
this
talking a lot
guy
of
isn't a
shit.
part of that roster, but I would like to see John Cena and Rey Mysterio go at it. Because they came in together on SmackDown.
Sure.
They were the start of SmackDown. And now he's on SmackDown as the champion in my booking.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, so somehow we got to get Ray over there. And I know that there's only like one night of the year where Raw and SmackDown cross brands. But
No, we're past that now.
okay. Randy Orton.
Got to have that at some point.
You got to have John Cena and Randy Orton.
Heel John Cena versus babyface Randy
Yeah,
Orton.
never before. Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns, Rob Van Dam.
Rob Van Dam.
I want to see Rob Van Dam back. That was such a crazy match when Van Dam and Cena. And so, like, if we're doing the hits, replaying some of the hits, that's one of my favorite matches.
Yeah.
Just because of the significance of it. That was so cool. That place was going to riot.
Let me throw something out there to you. I do think that Cena is going to beat Cody at WrestleMania because if he doesn't, his heel turn means nothing, right? I do feel like by the end of the year, Cody beats Cena for the championship. He overcomes the odds of the final boss and John Cena. Cena sees the error of his ways and becomes a babyface again. But what do you think about this at WrestleMania?
DIY and
What?
John Cena together.
No.
In a 6-man against Pretty Deadly and Fandango.
I don't think that's a match that's going to
I
happen.
want it to happen.
All right. Last year, we got everybody helping Cody Rhodes win the championship.
Okay.
Except for one person because for some reason, if it's not in his state, it doesn't seem like he wants to travel. But this year, WrestleMania is in Nevada. What are the odds that perhaps, even though it's a year late, because he did challenge me to a match at WrestleMania 40 after WrestleMania 40 had happened, so I think he didn't know that it happened. What are the odds that, try as he might, but it doesn't happen and doesn't help, Stone Cold Steve Austin attempts to help fight off The Rock as he gets involved with the John Cena Cody Rhodes match. And we finally get the glass shattering this year. Stone Cold stuns The Rock to take him out, but still in the end, maybe something happens where Travis Scott helps fucking John Cena when The Rock gets taken out. And John Cena prevails after Stone Cold tries. John Cena beats Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania.
Travis Scott knockout punch.
I don't like that. He does have a knockout punch. He did leave quite the bruise on Cody's face. So, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I like it. I think Stone Cold coming back this year is perfect. I think him missing last year then only adds to it.
And it kind of puts a spotlight on him by himself, though. Again, oh, God, it would have been so perfect if Austin was in the Taker spot last year. Damn it. But this could be redemption.
Yeah, I would take this over that.
Yeah.
Over Austin being in that spot, yeah.
Yeah.
For him to be there this year and to be involved with Cody.
Yeah.
And Cena and Rock. Will you get Hogan out there too? No.
Well, I don't know.
Ric Flair.
None
of those. Okay.
No, I don't think we want that.
Velveteen Dream.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I'm going to ignore that last comment. And do you think, would it make more sense if it happened, if he appeared, because he's not going to do a match, would he be on the side of Cena and Rock, or would he try to be sort of a voice of reason towards John Cena, Batista? Because I feel like when we talk about some of the biggest opponents of John Cena's career, Batista's got to rank up there. Do we get, at some point, a Batista and John Cena interaction?
I guess. Batista's tiny looking now.
But he's not. He's tiny
I
compared
know.
to what he was. But,
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is Batista technically would be the Hollywood guy.
Yeah.
With The Rock and John Cena. But I feel like...
Oh, man, they should all be hanging out together.
I feel like Batista could be like a voice of reason, though. Like, I feel like he's the one guy who, like, hasn't, like, forgot where he came from. He seems more
even
humble.
though he's never returned to WWE.
Once he said it was his last match with Hunter, he said it was his last match, and he was going to go in the Hall of Fame, but then there was a pandemic. So he was like, you know what? I don't want to be inducted in front of no one, so no thanks.
And then he don't got nothing to do with it now. I never see him come out
He's
there.
a busy man.
He forgot where he
You got to
came
say
from.
you got to think he's got to come back for one interaction with John Cena.
Yeah, we need that.
Come on.
I like that a lot.
Only thing that we're going to be missing this year is Cena and Edge.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. That was a great feud, but maybe like Lita.
Just Lita?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because that's all we got. Maybe like, they're honoring her for something.
Yeah.
on some Raw or on some SmackDown,
Mm-hmm.
and Cena interrupts and says, "You remember all those years ago when you guys messed with me?" And then Cena puts her in the attitude adjustment.
Do you think we get an interaction with B Square?
Oh, I think he's dead.
He's not dead.
No?
That's not true.
Okay.
Don't say that the good goddamn name of Bull Buchanan has perished. He's
Okay,
good.
well, yeah, bring him back. With that furry Kango.
Who?
The furry Kango on his head. The hat.
Oh, okay, yeah. Booyah! He's got to hit the booyah. Yeah, all right. That's all I'm thinking. What do you guys think about John Cena as a heel? How would you book this heel run? Where does it end? Does it end? Does it end this year? Are we going to get more John Cena? Who knows what lies ahead? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below on YouTube.
My kid said it was the craziest thing he'd ever seen because his whole life, John Cena had been a babyface.
Yeah.
Never knew him as a heel.
Sure.
Never gave in, you know, and he said, I just couldn't believe what I was watching.
It's weird.
What direction are they going, man? This is excellent.
When Cena became that guy, I had already became an adult. I was 18 years old. And so I liked Thugonomics John Cena, but then, babyface Cena didn't really resonate with me. I mean, he was fine. I wasn't like die hard, I hate Cena like a lot of adult men were. But even as someone who was an adult by that time, I was shocked. And I think this is going to go down in history as probably the most shocking heel turn of all time again. You mentioned
Not when Otis turned against Leroy or whatever his partner
Leroy?
Tucker,
yeah. I wish it was Leroy, though, in retrospect. I mean, I think when you talk top WWE turns, you got to talk Andre. No particular order. Andre. You talk, and we're talking 80s until now. Andre, I think Rollins, I think, is a big one when he betrays the Shield. I think that's important. You know what?
Rock becoming corporate champ the first time. Even though he was only babyface for a few weeks.
That was a good shock. Good shock. I feel like, you know what? I'd have to go back and watch it. But even though it led to one of the best storylines of all time, I don't know if the Roman turn was as shocking as it could have been because it was during the pandemic.
Yeah, because it's not even in the ring or in a match or anything.
Yeah. I
liked it, though, because it was different.
Yeah.
But, like, the camera zooms out, right? And Paul Heyman's sitting on the couch or something with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did what they did.
Yeah. Hogan, obviously. John Cena. I think John Cena's the top. I don't know if you top this. We'll see what the follow-up is. But, hey, that's it for this week. We're going to do some of your questions from social media from the last couple weeks, along with a full review of Elimination Chamber and maybe some other stuff that comes up from whatever wrestling news we're seeing right now. Patreon.com/Iron Wrestling. Get a buttload of bonus content starting at $3, $5 for bonus video, including behind-the-scenes footage, an extended version of perverted advertisements from magazines that I just put up on YouTube this week, and $9 you get involved in Zoom chats, which we'll be doing probably in the next week or so here. I think I have Sunday free, so we'll probably do a Sunday. Let's do that. So if you want to get involved with that, $9. You can chat with me for at least an hour of my time.
Did you say Young Bucks?
$9.
Oh.
$25 and up, you get something in the mail from us every quarter. And yeah, make sure you follow us on social media at Iron Wrestling. Subscribe if you haven't already on YouTube. Follow me on social media. I'm at Gregory Iron on X, Gregory_Iron on Instagram, Facebook.com/The Handicap Hero. You can contact me for pro wrestling, motivational speaking, and pro wrestling seminars. I'm actually going to be at Top Tier Wrestling in the corner of my brother Zach Thomas and Big Al Crawley in Hamilton, Ontario this Saturday night. So if you're in the area, come out and see us. Then, yeah, Cameo, if you want a shout-out of some sort, just search Gregory Iron, ProWrestlingTees.com/Gregory Iron for your T-shirts, my shirts, Aaron shirts, Iron and Wrestling shirts. Aaron, what would you like to plug?
I'm at Fair to Air on Blue Sky. Mm-hmm. And then I'm on Instagram at Fair to Aaron.
All right.
And, this weekend I'll be in the great city of Columbus, Ohio, the capital
I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah. I'll be at Ohio State University.
What are you doing there?
Special Olympics.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Well,
so-
what are you gonna get the gold this year, buddy?
You sound like Nia Jax.
What? Oh, okay. Yeah. She did think you were mentally handicapped.
She thought you were.
You want to hold the belt, little guy?
What did you think of the matches, boys?
Oh, boy.
Did you like when the good guys wrestled the bad guys?
Yeah. Well, Candace couldn't be here because she's not friends with Tiffy, so...
Tiffy gets jealous.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's it for this week. Like I said, more content over on Patreon, so check us out there. It's the best way to support the show.
Oh, wait. I forgot.
What?
I ended with Fatu. Jacob Fatu and John Cena.
Oh, that'd be a great match.
Because The Rock ends up, 3-2, what you were saying, and then the number one is John Cena, the last person on his hit list.
Yeah.
And he hires Jacob Fatu for that.
I feel like they're making
Cena puts over Fatu.
I think they're making Fatu a babyface though.
Yeah, they will. Not right now though.
All right.
All right, I'll miss you.
All right. Thanks
Good
for
night.
your time and kiss goodbye.
It manscaped last
Stop.
time.
No.